RCA type.
Hey, welcome to Trust the Process Live on My New Philly. As you can see tonight, we are going live from the Phield House. It is a new indoor facility with grass and a basketball court, as you can see behind us, and we love it here, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. Right now, if you see this link, make sure you click the share and the follow button and the like button. Share to all your friends and family. We're going to get into a bunch of stuff. This is my guy, Everett Terry, and this is my guy, Perry Liss. Terry and Perry. It gets confusing sometimes, but they are some good guys. So make sure you follow them on all their social network handles. It should be below. But we're going to jump right into it. Also, we have a few guests tonight that I'm pretty excited about. Not only do we have the Philadelphia women's tackle team here, the Philly Phantoms.
I'm going to guess the Phantoms. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Gonna guess.
Good guess.
Good guess.
Also, John Stolnis is here to talk some baseball, so I'm really excited about that.
Phillies.
Yes, but anyway, welcome to Trust the Process Live. I'm going to shoot this right over to our guy, Mr. 5 Digits Max himself. He's going to jump into some football stuff.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. So, in case you didn't hear with all those Odell Beckham trade rumors, the NFL made a pretty major move, and they changed the targeting rule. Put it simply, it's now defined as this. A player lowers his head to initiate and make contact with his helmet against an opponent. So we see that a lot, and I know you're probably wondering, how is this going to change the NFL that we know and the NFL that we love? So thankfully, we have the Philadelphia Phantoms here with us tonight. Got some friends. I got my friend Netta. She's going to be hitting our friend Erica over there. And we're going to give you a quick breakdown of what a good tackle and what a bad tackle looks like. So I'm going to get out of the way.
Yeah,
so
please go far away
next. I
next.
hope I don't get hit with a football.
Woo! Sticky!
Right.
Glad I didn't suit up
That's
tonight.
a nice clean hit, shoulder down. That is what the NFL is looking for. They want to eliminate what we're about to see, and that is going to be a pretty clear example of this new NFL targeting rule.
That was weird. Erica, on me.
I love these Oregon jerseys.
Ready?
So there you go. And now we're going to bring in the two foremost experts that I know about NFL and tackling and targeting. To my left, as always, is Mickey Scribe, Mr. Perry Liss. And to my right, the sharpest dressed man in the room, Mr. Everett Terry. Usually.
Sharpest dressed minus the sneakers he's got on with his suit.
I gotta wear sneakers.
I feel you.
All right, guys, so obviously this rule is huge if they choose to enforce it. We all know how the NFL and the officials can be. So I want to ask you guys, the very first question I have is, what do you think the fallout of this rule is going to be? Where do you think the game changes from here?
I think like any other rule, there's going to be a couple plays that are called horribly and a couple plays that are called well, and people are going to complain about it regardless of what happens. Someone's going to get thrown out of a game that's going to be a huge implication in a big game, I'm sure. They're not letting running backs lower their head into a hit anymore, which I don't understand, because as a running back, you lower your pad face to get leverage, and your head comes with it. So I'm confused about the whole thing. I'm interested to see how they're going to play it out. I think it's probably not going to be as big of a deal as we're making it out to be, though.
I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal, but the problem is every time you look around, the NFL is trying to make changes to improve the game, and I get the safety aspect and angle of it, but it's football. It's a physical game. It's meant to be violent, and the way they keep softening it, now they're talking about maybe getting rid of kickoffs. I mean, you might as well play flag football.
That's NFL
guys
Street
do
3
two-hand touch,
right there,
you know,
kickoffs.
remove a flag. I mean, you're taking what makes football great out of it, and that's the hits. That's what people like to see. Everything is about the violence and the physical nature of it. So, honestly, I say leave well enough alone.
Maybe it's better not to have all these guys have like CTE when they're 40 though, so I'm okay with trying to limit the head-to-head contact.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So while the exact penalty hasn't really been firmly established yet, there's a second round of owners meetings coming up in May. That's where the official punishment that'll be handed out in games will be voted on and approved. There is talk though that this could go as far as ejections, on-field, real-time ejections. So I want to know, do you guys think that is a good move? How is that going to work if they do end up setting?
I personally hate it unless there is a uniform rule where you are thrown out of the game if this, and only this, and it has to be in black and white, and it has to be replay. It can't be ref throws the flag and thinks it happened and kicks the guy out. You see too many college kids getting kicked out of huge bowl games and conference championship games
and that's where
on like yo, these guys are flying around, running 4.3 40s into each other. They're both running 22 miles an hour, full speed, and their helmet changes like 2 inches, and then they collide head to head, and it kicks the guy out of a game for it. I hate that, so I would rather it not be suspensions. I'd rather them not get thrown out of the game.
So I think the only players this is really going to impact are guys who clearly make a lot of dirty plays, like Avonte's Burfict, maybe an Ndamukong Suh. Guys who are just normally known for taking any edge and advantage they can in order to make a play, sometimes illegal and sometimes against blurred lines. I think the average player will be able to adjust. Most NFL players are smart enough to adjust on the fly. But like you said, it's going to happen in one of those key critical games against a key critical opponent in a game that matters. And then you're going to see everyone are going to want to modify the rules again. Personally, again, I think leave well enough alone. I get trying to be safe. There's other ways you can do it without.
You know how you can do it? Maybe instead of going with the lowest bid on a contract for helmets in the NFL, go with the company that makes like the safest, best helmets.
The NFL is pretty tight on money.
The NFL couldn't possibly give a shit about player safety. It is all fake. As soon as they stop playing games on Thursday night, then come talk to me about player safety.
All right, so last question, real quick answer before we head over to our next segment.
Yes.
More likely to happen this year? More ejections per game, or offenses putting up 30 or more consistent?
30 or more consistent.
Eagles win the Super Bowl, more likely.
More ejections.
Hey!
More ejections.
Back to Mickey. We got a word from our sponsor, Fellow Auto Group. This week, and it's only Tuesday. You guys need to pick it up. You're about to get laid off. Honestly, we don't need you guys. I can do this all by myself.
Yo, Jachi, I need to know your secret, man, because I need a breakthrough.
You want to know my secret? Simple, all right? You got to find out if they have kids. What do they like to eat? Do they like to dance?
They do the Harlem
It's car buying made simple. Come on! Wake up, people! One of y'all gonna be my number 2 one day. You hear me? I don't know which one yet. Whoa. I got this. Watch and learn.
Hey guys, welcome back to Trust the Process Live. How did you guys like that? The new NFL tackle rule.
I was worried one of them were going to tackle me from behind. So I
had
my head on a swivel.
one of them hit Max just for laughs.
I was
totally
do it.
But as a coach,
I don't want to be Brandon Cooks with like Malcolm hitting me when I'm not
That's
looking.
exactly
that
what it was going to look like.
So.
Can I say, as a football coach, it only annoys me because we train and like have such a specific way to coach tackling that
Now you
has
gotta
to
change
change
that.
now. Like these tackling in games is in their muscle memory. Like it's a reflex now. We have to change it. That's why I said there are more ejections coming because this is muscle memory at this point. It's going to take
No
a while
one's
to
running
change.
22 miles an hour thinking about how they're going to hit somebody.
Absolutely not. No, except
make the play.
differently. Anyway, also the NFL is simplifying the catch rule to make the referee's job earlier. I saw that was a thing.
Whatever. They're simplifying it because people complain because we're watching some replays and we're like, well, that's a catch. I don't understand why. So I don't think it's going to make anything simpler. There's still going to be problems with it. No matter how they define the rule, there's going to be problems with it.
We agree.
Okay.
Somebody's going to be upset when there's a catch that shouldn't be a catch and vice versa.
You know what
Right.
definitely was a catch, though? Corey Clement,
Stop.
Zachary,
Stop.
touchdown, Super Bowl.
Go first. Okay, so next we have our Truth or Nah segment. And to help us out with that, we're bringing on one of my favorite people in the world, Wright. Star Wright. This is Star. Star is the owner of the Philadelphia women's tackle team, the Philly Phantoms, who I am the defensive line and DB's coach for.
There you go.
Hey, Star. Hey, girl. So, can you tell us a little bit about the Phantoms? Like when we started and all that good stuff.
So we are going into our 3rd season.
Trey Club.
Have made the playoffs every year since our existence. We are part of the league called the WFA, which is the Women's Football Alliance. There's about 60 plus teams.
60 teams, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, different divisions.
Yes. Yeah, they're separated in divisions. We represent Philadelphia. We are the only team in Philadelphia. So
Period.
How far are we talking? You playing people like in Florida
play
and California,
Boston.
or like how far? Kind of just like in the Northeast.
We play up and down the East Coast until the
Boston, Tampa.
championship.
Cool.
So the first year we made it to the Eastern Conference Championship game before our version of the Super Bowl. And then if we would have won, we would have played someone from the West Coast. So
Cool.
that's how pretty much
Awesome.
moves.
Yeah. So, but the teams we play are Boston, and then DC, and then Baltimore, and then
New York.
Tampa somehow gets thrown into Virginia. Yeah. So that's kind of the team we play. Our first team is Boston this Saturday, April 7th at 6 p.m. at the Field on Brown and Hunting Park. But that's neither here nor there. Just make sure you come out.
Please.
Good stuff.
Also, so I hear you're going to help us out with this truth or no segment.
I'm trying.
Okay, so I'm gonna
trying.
say a
Sports
sentence, and you just.
I am.
Yeah. So you just have to say if is it true or no.
Okay.
Okay, and if you are watching, please share this link right here. It's a little button. It says share. Click it, and it'll go to all your friends and family on Facebook. Okay. Joel Embiid's orbital bone fracture will result in the Sixers losing in the first round.
It resulted in me being devastated for a couple nights. That's for sure. Will it result in us losing in the first round? Only if he's out for the first round. If Joel Embiid comes back, and I'll tell you, my brother-in-law is an oral surgeon. He's done 40 of these surgeries because it's a facial surgery. They do that. So
often.
yeah, well, I'm giving you a good pointer here. Here's what he told me. It is 2 weeks is the minimum he can come back. So that would land him back game one of the first round, which is the 14th or 15th, depending on when we start. But it's strictly whether he can deal with the pain, which he can, and whether he's seeing double vision. If he's seeing double vision, he's not going to be able to play. So he might be out for the first week. The concussion will go away by then. It's strictly that. Like the actual surgery will only come out for 2 weeks. From there on, it's just a matter of how his eyes react to it. So I'm hopeful that he'll be back by game 2 at the latest. Anything more than that, we're going to have a problem in the first round because Indiana and Washington aren't better than us, but without Joel Embiid, they're better than us.
Right. So, does anybody else find it ironic that a guy with an injured shoulder injures the most injured guy on the roster? To me,
Thanks for
find it
pointing that out.
I mean,
Way to go.
Marco Fultz came in and, was basically useless. I mean, he came in and he got Embiid hurt. He got Embiid hurt. Listen, at the end of the day.
Do you think he got Embiid hurt? Did you see it?
Thank God we talk about him.
I did see it.
Listen.
I don't think it was intentional.
No, he didn't go out there with his. But it's just, like I said, the irony of it.
He's been being blamed a lot for it, though. It's sad. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's
do
a
you,
millionaire
so do
at
you
19.
think that they will lose in the first round due to Embiid's orbital bone
So
fracture?
I'm going to say no. No, I'm sorry.
No. Right.
I suffered an orbital fracture before and a concussion before.
Wow.
Have you?
Yeah.
How long was your vision blurry for?
Which one?
Which injury,
Right.
right?
Which one?
On the orbital fracture.
Maybe
That's
a
what I
week.
heard. Is that,
Yeah.
So that's so. Look, I think if he's back by game 3, if we have home court, which I think we will keep, because Ben is playing phenomenally. If we have home court and he misses the first 2, we'll split 1-1, and he comes back for game 3, we're gonna win. If he misses like 4 games, we probably lose. That's
Okay.
really
I
just
think if they miss 3 games and are down 1-2, the series is over. They have to be ahead when he comes back or even.
Okay, so Markelle Fultz will be a part of Brett Brown's playoff rotation. True or no?
Sure. I mean, sure, why not? Like, what else do you have to lose?
You sound like you trust this process so much.
Absolutely. I mean, let the kid go out there and shoot however he's going to shoot and do whatever he's
Or
going to
not.
do.
What are you here for? What kind of analysis is that?
Listen,
Do you have any
You
actual
are
opinion
totally
to provide?
against him.
No, that's yeah. No,
Barry, that was
he's
pretty good. Listen,
he's
hit
the
me.
hater.
Come on.
I'm not, listen,
He
I'm
What's
not,
he doing? You
He
watched him
voted
play a
against
few
the
games.
Eagles.
I'm
every
not a
single week.
fan of letting a kid who's been out of the rotation all season come in and break up the chemistry.
Okay.
The Sixers were playing well without him, okay? Clearly they're going to have the best record they've had in well over a half decade, easy. And you bring a kid in who most people don't even have confidence in, let alone he has confidence in himself to come in and play. And if they lose, people are going to blame him anyway because he got Joel Embiid hurt, whether directly or indirectly, and because he hasn't played well. If he came in and played like a number 1 overall pick since he's been back, people wouldn't be so much about killing him. But he hasn't played that well.
What
You said
planet?
you said 5 years, like it was such a long, like half decade.
Well,
right?
I use that as an example. I mean, they haven't been good in
You-
about 10 years, to be honest with you,
All right.
since they got
Go
rid of
ahead,
Iggy
man.
however many years ago and Drew
On
Holiday.
what planet has he not played well in his short time back? I don't know what you're watching. You don't
Okay.
even watch Sixers games. I know that already, so you
Okay.
couldn't possibly have any idea.
Okay.
But I'll give you a stat because in his first 2 games, he became the first player ever to have 15 assists and 1 turnover in less than 28 minutes of play.
Great.
That's
All right.
pretty good. No,
You know
you get that by
what this
accident.
face
He doesn't
reminds
want
us
to
of?
give credit.
This face
this
reminds
was
us
the-
when
this-
he
the Eagles are gonna go 6 and 10
when
face.
he gave us our draft a C or a D.
It was
for
also the
drafting
Sixers are going to win
Carson
35 games face, and Joel Embiid can't
said
stay
Ben
healthy
We were
Simmons
face.
definitely not going to the
Ben
playoffs.
Simmons won't be Rookie of the Year face. You got a
No,
lot
I didn't
of-
say Ben would be rookie.
Yes, you
I said
did.
Ben, no, I said Ben had the potential to be rookie of the year, but
But
I didn't
you-
know if he was going to do it.
All right.
He's coming off injury.
All
It's a good
right,
thing
we'll
one of us
find
did.
it.
So
We'll
listen,
find it.
Markelle Fultz is not currently what he will be next year and what he would have been if he played all year, but to come in at 19 and provide that much of a difference to the second unit, he makes that second unit run now because you got shooters all around him, and you can't stop the kid from getting to the basket. He's still too quick and too shifty to stay in front of.
Okay.
So he will play, and what they need to do over these last 5 games is have him play at the same time as Ben, because Ben's going to play 40 to 42 minutes a night in the playoffs. So you only have those 6 to 8 minutes as the reserve point guard. And if we want Markelle to play more like 15 in the playoffs, which I want him to, he needs to play 7 minutes with Ben. So we need to figure that out.
So we can go over like the worst first overall picks in the history of basketball. Anthony Bennett, Kwame Brown. I mean, you pick them. You go down the list. Name me the last time any of them played with the second unit the first time they played. Second unit.
Most of them do.
No.
When they get drafted on good teams, who gets drafted on a good team number 1?
Who's the number 1 overall that gets drafted to a good team?
If Jason Tatum, who had played on Boston and behind Gordon Hayward, if Gordon Hayward doesn't snap his ankle,
Okay.
Jason
Nah,
Tatum's
he's
playing on the
getting
bench.
it.
Guys, we gotta be sorry.
What are you
We
talking
gotta
about?
move
Such
on.
more analysis.
So,
You got
true
hurt
or
in the
no?
beginning.
Thank
Beginning of the
you.
season.
Thank you for the charm. We gotta move
Let's just
on.
forward towards the Temple question.
Yeah, shout out
I
to
know that's a big
TU.
one. Everyone.
There are lots
Thank
of
God all of our
TU.
producers are from
TU,
Temple, so
right.
we can talk about
TU.
Temple tonight.
There's lots
All
of
our
owls in the
interns,
building.
everybody.
Shout out
Yeah.
to all of our interns are owls, so shout out to TU. So Temple made the right choice in giving Coach Dunphy a farewell tour before Coach McKee took over. True or not?
Yeah, that's definitely true because he went to the tournament 7 of 12 years and had a 62% winning percentage. That, guys, clap it up for Fran Dunphy.
Give it up.
Parade down Broad Street, 3 million people. Fran Dunphy, baby. 7 tournaments in 12 years. Oh, man. You guys are crazy.
TU. So no.
And the biggest bleep award
Right?
goes to Perry.
Yeah.
You kidding me? You know what? But I agree with them.
Shocker.
I mean, what has Fran Dunphy done recently to make Temple relevant
What
at all?
have you done
Hasn't
for
recruited
me
very
lately?
well. Hasn't made them relevant. And meanwhile, you look literally like 10 miles up the street and guys winning national titles.
How about my boy Tony Carr at Penn State? Penn State's going to be in the tournament next year. We just won the NIT.
How does the Temple specific
no,
one that Perry still gets to Penn State?
Do you want to know?
Still, yeah, I want to know
You're
that.
like Miss Philly over here, so for you not to know, that's pretty
don't-
ridiculous.
What?
Was Tony Carr not the state champion at Roman
yeah,
Catholic
yeah.
2 years ago?
Yes, I'm fully aware.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, all right.
Penn State is stealing all the Philadelphia kids, and Villanova takes anybody talented in the area. So Temple, like, go recruit better or go coach better, but I ain't giving them a parade for this
Yeah,
garbage.
the only Temple coach I really know is Jeff Collins. So, because that's the football coach.
Right.
Anyway, so
They were good when Pepe Sanchez was there, though. Did Dunphy have anything to do with that? I give
Look at
Pepe
Med.
Sanchez.
Med even popped
Pepe
up.
Sanchez could have
Our
a parade.
producer popped
Happy
up.
Sanchez.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Took
That's
it
a
back.
throwback,
Took it
man.
back.
Took it back.
Listen.
Okay, so moving right along, Villanova deserves to be considered a Philly team. Star, what do you think? Do you consider Villanova a Philly team? And then I'll tell you what we think.
I don't consider Villanova
What?
a Philly team. It's not in Philly. Like it's
First of all,
I cheer for Villanova
Right,
like
Penn
it's
State?
from.
8 hours away.
I cheer for Villanova like it's a Philly team, but it's not
was
in
right.
Philly.
So you do cheer for them
I
like
do.
they're a Philly team.
I do like it's a home team, but technically it's just.
Well, shut up.
They
All right.
play in the suburbs. They don't play in Philly like Temple does. Okay, so it's not Philly. And B, like, we didn't go to Villanova, right? We didn't go to Villanova. What am I cheering for Villanova for? I would rather see them win than Michigan win because they're from the area. I like Jay Wright. I think Jalen Brunson's great. I hope they win, but like, they're not a Philadelphia team. The Phillies, the Sixers, the Flyers, the Eagles, that's Philadelphia team. The Phantoms.
What about the Kicks? The Kicks play in Chester.
Well done.
Do they count?
Well done, P. No.
Right, there you go.
Chester doesn't count.
Chester does not count. No, but like at the end of the day, like if you have a team like close to the, it's like
Certain
it's
mile
like
radius.
if when the Flyers get out, this might be wrong for the actual real Flyers fans, but like I feel like when the Flyers are out, then I'm like, what's the Penguins doing? Like let's see what other like Pennsylvania teams.
Nah, you definitely,
Look at his
definitely
face.
not.
With the
I
Flyers
do.
hoodie on.
I don't
On
have
air.
Penguins gear. Like listen to me. Wait,
Oh,
listen to
my
me.
God.
Listen
You
to me.
clearly didn't go to Penn State.
No,
You were from
listen
Pittsburgh.
to me.
Jeez, yikes.
No,
Boo,
seriously.
where's the flag tonight?
I
Throw
see
the
who's
flag
next.
there.
I
Yellow
see who's the
flag for
next
sure.
closest.
Throw
It's
something
usually
matter.
Villanova. If you flag me,
Throw something at this girl.
No, seriously. But that's just it. I just figure out who's next, like in the area. And Villanova, I root for them like a Philly team.
right,
so
next.
wait, so since we're on Nova, really quickly, who wins tonight?
Oh, Nova.
Villanova, you got
The
five
Philly team you
guys.
don't root
They can
for?
shoot the
I
three
do
ball.
root
I
for
saw a
them.
stat about the game
Perry
against
stat.
Kansas.
Hashtag Perry stat right now.
Yeah, against Kansas, Kansas was down 15, and in a stretch of 5 possessions, Kansas scored all 5 possessions, and after those 5 possessions, we're down 17 because Villanova shoots the three,
threes.
and you can't stop them. They got 5 guys that can shoot. No one can guard Jalen Brunson, and they're better.
Jalen Brunson's going to be a solid NBA
Hashtag
pro.
Perry fact.
But I'll tell you what, there's a guy that has a $25,000 bet at 4,000 to 1 on Michigan tonight. He wins $1 million if they win. So
Okay,
that'll be
really
interesting.
quickly, Star, I need you to tell us where we can get tickets for the Philly Phantoms games that are on the 7th and the 14th at 6 p.m. at the Gratz Field.
www.phantomsfootball.com.
All right.
With a Z, right?
Yes, with
Phantoms
the
with
Z.
a Z.
With the Z, Phantoms.
Yeah, S is
also,
like the
follow us
AHL team.
Philly Phantoms, at Philly Phantoms on Instagram. I got
At
that
Phantoms
wrong.
Football
Phantoms Football.
on Instagram
Yeah.
and Philadelphia Phantoms on Facebook.
Yes.
Okay. Got
Thank
it.
you for joining
Thank
us.
you.
so much.
Thank you.
This was fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us. Shout out to all the Phantoms in the room right now. They're all over doing crazy stuff. And share this link right now. Press the share button, click it, share it to everyone else. All right, it is now halftime. So, as you can see, we are here at the Phield House. I mentioned a little earlier, it's 814 Spring Garden. And we are going to bring my guy, Mark Solomon, on the show. He's going to tell us a little bit about the Phield House. And I actually train a bunch of my guys here, so I'm here like twice a
Were
day.
you showing Trey Thomas how to block?
Yes, that's exactly what it
Show him that
was.
swim
I wanna make
move.
sure.
And he said he
hands
wished
under.
he said he
Hands
wished
under,
he
Trey,
had that
under.
information
Yes.
when he played. That's
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly
he would have made more
That's
Pro
exactly
Bowls
what
if you had
happened.
you
Correct.
coaching.
I mean,
Right.
I
First ballot
do
Hall of Famer for
currently train
sure.
Malcolm Jenkins here, but I mean, you guys can also, get off my pipe. But Mark, what's up?
Hey.
Thank you for
Hey,
joining
welcome.
us.
How you doing?
So this is my guy Mark. He runs this place where we are. So can you tell us a little bit about the Phield House?
Sure.
PH, by the way, which is my
PH,
favorite.
Of course, has to be. So Phield House, we opened up in December, just this past
brand new.
December, brand new. We've got a basketball court, which you can see behind us. You're familiar with the
Very much.
field,
Yeah,
of
they're
course.
struggling to get to 11.
That's right.
Hey, no
Oh,
judgment.
boy.
Come
yeah.
like pick up here.
That's right. So we've got 2 fields, 2 turf fields, a couple of batting tunnels, and available for rentals, as you
Yes,
well know.
I
for
will,
people,
very much.
People coming to train and playing in leagues, and we've
Birthday
got
parties and stuff?
birthday parties, we've got
Camps.
and
That's
clinics,
great.
and
I love the
all
field,
kinds of
too.
instruction.
Yes, there's meeting rooms in the 2 turf fields. There is a separator which can go up, and there can be a big giant field, like one big giant field. And there's the batting cages over
it looks like you're right
back
over
there
here.
where they have the ball machine. So any kind of sport you can
Still gotta
possibly
get you
think
in
of.
there. Gotta get you
Listen,
in there.
I was so close to going in there with the softball team because I don't know if they were parents
Swing and a miss.
or coaches,
Swing and a miss.
but I just wanted to adjust so bad. But I was actually on the field coaching other people
Next
at the
time.
Moment.
Next time.
I was this close. So I was
I
like,
got a good
just
question.
move her elbow up.
How annoying are Noah Ashraf and Mark Shaw?
Not at all. Not at all. I love them.
Well done.
Yeah.
Love them. Absolutely.
Sorry, I'm going to tell them you said they were annoying.
Yeah. Of course.
Well, we love being here. So can you tell us how, if we wanted to rent a space or wanted to rent a party or come to the camp, how can we find out information about the Phield House?
Sure. You call me, first of all. You can
Okay.
call us. The number, you want the number? I mean, we do all that.
Well, you can put your
Go to
website on.
Go website, fieldhouse.com, and as you mentioned, it's PHIELD.
Do you have an Instagram?
Instagram at Phield House, and Facebook, of course, at Phield House as well.
Yes, they are on Facebook.
Yeah. So right now, it's contact us directly, and we'll get you on the field, get you on a court, and get you in the program that you want to be on.
Yeah, so contact Mark, tell him Mickey or Perry or Terry sent you, and he will hook you up with whatever your needs are. Make sure you rent this space. And again, it is 814 Spring Garden, right next to Traffic Court. So that's always fun. I know Philly knows where Traffic Court is.
Yeah.
Place is miserable.
Right.
Well, my friend, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for
We
having me.
appreciate
Great to have
it.
you.
Yes,
Appreciate
we love it here.
Appreciate it.
And if you want to see your business here on Trust the Process Live, or you want us to come to your business, please email us at trusttheprocesslive@gmail.com. Okay, moving on to the main event.
There we go.
So somehow our main event is Phillies. And I know we've played
There's
some
not like
games.
a big game tonight, though, right?
No, it got snowed out.
Oh, okay.
Up in, yeah. I
Not
mean,
in San
who cares
Antonio.
about the national title game with Villanova? We're going to talk about the Phillies who stink.
Yeah, they're so our hosts are a little bitter, but the Phillies have already
Because clearly a
played.
baseball guy wrote this script.
So the Phillies have already played some games, but I cannot deal with Max behind us, the camera. But we're going to look ahead to the 2018 season, and we're going to talk. And to help us do that is the host of Phillies podcast, Hittin, writer for SB Nation's Good Phight from numberfire.com. Please welcome John Stolnis.
Hey. Hey, guys.
Hey, welcome.
Hey, John. How are you?
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
All right.
How are you?
So really quickly, can you tell me about the podcast Hittin season?
Yes, the Hittin season. I've been doing it for 3 years. You can get it on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play. It's a weekly look at the Phillies, what's going on. I usually talk to a Phillies beat writer or a national writer, national broadcaster. Had Matt Klentak on the podcast last year. So we do one that's free for everybody, and then I have podcasts through a Patreon site. We do with other Good Phight writers. So I do the podcast and then write for SB Nation's Philly site, The Good Phight, and I do fantasy baseball writing for Number Fire as well. So
Whoa.
Awesome.
You were like the opposite
busy.
of me when it comes to baseball.
I don't sleep.
Yeah.
No
Well,
sleep.
I thought for football, so I can appreciate
exactly.
you.
There
But
we go.
please don't come at me if I say something wrong.
No,
'Cause I
no,
don't-
no, that's fine.
The last thing I know about baseball ended in 2005 when we won the World Series. So.
The fact that
when?
he said
Eight,
5
eight,
2008.
says
eight.
everything that we
I was
hear.
in 10th grade. I apologize.
Oh my God.
2008. My bad. It was 10 years ago. My bad. Maybe if you guys get some Philly information out, maybe
Just
that
go
would
to
be
the
better.
The longer you talk, the more they realize you know what you're talking about.
Oh, I said I didn't know. I don't know
Let's go.
baseball.
Let's
I know what I
go.
know, and that's all I know.
right. great.
Let's kick things off with a hot topic. How warranted is the Gabe Kapler criticism?
Extremely.
Extremely.
All right, so here's what I jotted that
What
a couple.
is it?
First
First
of all,
stats.
in the second game of the season, he pitched the entire bullpen, right? Or the first game of the season? The second,
First.
yeah,
All of
first.
Yeah,
The
everybody.
entire bullpen, which I've never seen.
Everett, go pitch.
That was ludicrous.
Wait, really?
I don't understand how Aaron Nola comes at it. There's 68 pitches.
No.
Fifth
In
inning,
game
throwing the
one,
gym.
I don't understand why Carlos Santana, who's a 259 hitter-ish, is batting second when he's our power guy. Like, he needs to hit third or fourth. And I don't understand why. I mean, look, I understand there's going to be rotation in the outfield, but Odubel Herrera has been the best player on the team for the last 3 years. He should have been starting opening day. You're just going to piss him off, and he's not the kind of guy that responds to being benched by, like, trying harder. He's going to respond by being pissed off, and it's going to create this problem. So it was unwarranted and unnecessary. And then the last thing, he just embarrassed everybody by not having the bullpen ready, and Major League Baseball is yelling at him. So I think it's been as bad of a start as you can possibly have as a manager.
But he got 5% more female viewers to watch the Phillies this season, and that's what they hired him for. They said he was going to be nice eye candy for the women that cared nothing about baseball. That's true. Am I lying?
I hope he knows a little bit more about baseball than we've seen these first 3
Right.
days, because it's, with the whole thing with pulling Aaron Nola, that was just wrong. I don't care what numbers you're looking at, and he's
Correct.
got numbers that tell him Freddie Freeman kills Aaron Nola. So but you got to be able to marry the analytics you're looking at with your own eyes,
Correct.
with common sense. It's how the Astros won the World Series last year. It's an analytically driven team. They know the numbers, and yet their manager in Game 7 of the World Series
Use the brain.
Yeah, he had one guy. He saw, this guy's getting people out. I'm not taking him out, and they won the World Series because of it. So this is his third game. He's 3 games in. I don't want to kill him, but this is the
He
worst.
will.
Yeah, well, you should, because this is awful.
If this is a prelude to anything that you're going to see, I mean, the only thing that Gabe Kapler's been good for is a whole bunch of great, powerful, inspiring speech quote lines and jokes about coconut oil, being a punchline for jokes about coconut oil. That's, I mean,
But
you
it
want to
is
Google that.
literally 2% of the season. So
That's fair.
And they're
But
1-2,
again,
it's-
but again, they're playing the team that is arguably supposed to be the worst team in the division. You're supposed to at least win the series, if not sweep them. The Braves stink. And the fact that they gave away game 1, and they say it, correct me if
they
I'm
gave
wrong.
it away.
Every team wins and loses roughly 60 games. It's what you do with the rest that's going to dictate what happens with the season. And a game like this is a game that they should have won. Game 1.
Well, the thing that really matters the most is not even so much that they lost the game, is that early on in the season, this early on in his tenure, he could have lost the locker room already.
Correct.
I mean, if you're a young player, if you're Aaron Nola, what are you thinking right now
I don't
going into
trust
your
this
next
guy.
start? If I'm pitching well, if I'm throwing a 3-hit shutout, but all of a sudden I'm coming through the 3rd time of the order, and that's managers nowadays, they're terrified to let pitchers face a lineup the 3rd time through. As good as Aaron Nola is, and as good as he was pitching, am I getting pulled?
Yeah.
You can't operate that way. You can't pull Rhys Hoskins, your best player, for a defensive replacement in the 8th inning. I'm sorry, you just. It's not what I want to see.
I'm going to ask you this one. If Jake Arrieta pitches game 1 and he's up 5-0, do you think he comes out of Kapler, walks up to the mound? I don't.
No.
He's going to pull him early in his first start because he hasn't pitched a lot in the spring. He's going to do it. They have these ingrained rules in their head that are kind of good guidelines to go by, but you don't have to be so ridiculous about it. Like 68 pitches is ludicrous.
They've babyfied a lot of
that
these
was
pitchers.
ludicrous.
Right, so if you think all the criticism was warranted, please comment your opinion right now. Also, answer this next question. So, John, I'm going to ask you.
All right.
In your opinion, what Philly is going to take the biggest step forward?
I love Aaron Altair. I think Aaron Altair is going to take a big step forward this year because I think he's going to get a lot of playing time. I think he's going to get the lion's share of the playing time more than Nick Williams. I mean, as we've seen right now, I have no idea what Gabe Kapler is going to do with this outfield rotation. He's mixed and matched everybody, and that, we'll see how it shakes out. But Aaron Altair, if he can stay healthy, health has been his problem. When he plays, he's really good. He plays good defense. He runs the bases well. He has a lot of power. I love Aaron Altair. If he can stay healthy, he'd be a breakout guy.
He reminds me a lot of what Jason Worth was when he first started in 07, 08, when he wasn't playing full time, but the numbers said like, yo, if this guy plays, he's an all-star.
He's good. Yeah.
So and Altair looks like him. They're built the same way. They're fast. They swing for power. Like, so I agree with that. I can see that. I think this is maybe more of a desire than what will happen, but Maikel Franco has to be the guy that takes a step forward. Like last year, he batted .230 with a .696 OPS. Like, you can't do that, no.
Yeah.
And he hit 24 home runs, which is good, but if he hits 250, 260, he's going to hit 32 home runs.
Yeah.
So, and that's the guy that we expected to come up. So you don't need to be that guy that hit, 14 home runs in his first 148 bats. You don't have to be that guy, but you got to be much better than you were last year. And I think having Santana there, more protection in the lineup, more
less
being
pressure
in like big games day to day rather than just being a 60-win team. Like, I think that'll happen. So I at least hope it does, because if not, I'm done with Franco after this year.
Sorry, I'm going to go ahead.
So I'm going to go with the guy who just inked a new contract, Mr. Scott Kyree. I think that he's going to find a way to get into this rotation every day. I look at the way that this team is developing, and if Gabe Kapler has half of a brain, you don't bring a guy up opening day to sit him down and not play him. Yeah. I mean, what was the point? You could have left him down there for 2 weeks and brought him up later. They brought him up because they want him to play, and I think that the fact that not just his off-the-field stuff with him being humble and all those other things, but the fact that he's a player. He's raked it in no matter what level of baseball he's played, single A, double A, triple A, doesn't matter. You got to let him see Major League pitching and see if he's the guy that is worth this contract, and letting him play early where the games don't matter as much versus deeper in the season where you might be in the midst of a playoff run or a playoff hunt. That's going to help him be prepared for that big game action. So I say Scott Kyree is going to step up and actually hit well.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. We just have so many Philly questions to get to. So my next question is, in your opinion, who is going to end up being considered the best free agent pickup?
Go for it.
Up for the Phillies signed? Yeah. I think Carlos Santana has got to be the guy. I mean, Jake Arrieta was a huge free agent signing. He really fit a need for this team, but I think the jury's still out on how good he's going to be this year.
Right.
I have a lot of confidence. I think he's going to be pretty good. I don't think he's going to be that Cy Young guy that we saw a couple of years ago. And Carlos Santana, I think, you mentioned his batting average, never been his strength, but he gets on base a ton, and that's the number that baseball people really look at now. It's how often do you avoid making outs? And a single is as good as a walk nowadays, and if you can, and Carlos Santana, I think, is going to hit for more power,
especially in this Little League Park. Yeah.
Well, in Cleveland, where he played the last few seasons, that was in the bottom third in Major League Baseball in home runs last year. It's a tougher place to hit homers. In Citizens Bank Park in the summer, when that ball's flying out of there, I think he's a 30 home run guy this year.
He's a 260, 810 guy. You know, 260 average, 810 OPS, and if he's going to hit 25 to 30 in Cleveland, he's going to hit 30 to 38 here. So him and Hoskins really should be a powerful duo in the middle of the lineup like we had with, they're not Howard and Ibanez or Howard and Worth or Howard, whoever you want to say. Kyree could be Utley, though. Yeah. But that is, I agree, that has to be the guy, and it's really only the two of them. Like, the bullpen guys, like, whatever, they'll be good.
If they're healthy, they're hurt right now.
Tommy Hunter and Nishak will be good. Hopefully they will, because they're going to be pitching a lot. Apparently, bullpen's going to be pitching every night. But Santana has to be the guy, because he'll make the rest of the lineup kind of flow from his bat.
So I'm going to agree with both of you. I think that Jake Arrieta, if he doesn't get pulled and the bullpen doesn't blow games, will probably win you anywhere between 16 and 18 starts this year, which is decent, for this rotation. And I think, yes, kind of reverberating what you guys said, Carlos Santana has to be the guy in this part. They brought him in because, again, even though you have a first baseman, they brought him because he provides power in the lineup, gives a little more protection, allows Rhys Hoskins to develop into that true, cleanup hitter that he's going to be for the rest of his career. So I think that's a good fit, and that's the guy that's going to have a big year.
Okay, so who is the odd man out with the infield and the outfield?
I don't think there is one. Like you said, like you don't know what Kapler's going to do on a game-to-game basis, but there's 5 infielders and there's 4 outfielders, and there's 9 guys for 7 spots, and they're going to rotate, and a lot of them are kind of like Kyree can play a bunch of positions. Hoskins can always come in and play first if they want to sit Santana. So there's a lot you can do. Crawford's played third before, so he can shift over. I don't think there's going to be an odd man out. I don't think anybody except Hoskins is going to play every day. He's the only guy that I think gets over 600 at bats.
Not until they find somebody to trade. I think one of the things that they want to do is find a home for Cesar Hernandez at the trade deadline, and they don't want to just give him away because he's a good baseball player. But they would like to move one of those guys. If Michael Franco, if he plays enough to get a little bit of improvement in his game, they can maybe move him, and that opens up a spot where maybe you have a more settled infield, because it's really hard to get a sense for how it's all going to shake out right now.
Especially since that's Machado's spot next year. So.
That's right, exactly.
And that's exactly where I was going. I think that Mikel Franco will be the guy to play it out. He's been here a number of years. We haven't seen a huge step in his progression at this point. Will he get better with a manager who nobody can actually read? I don't know if his hitting is going to get any better, if he's going to be more consistent with his glove. That said, I think he drums up enough. He garners enough where the Phillies might take a bit of a loss in terms of the prospects they get back for him, but they move it out because, like he said, they're probably going to go after Machado anyway, and they need to get Kyree playing every day. So
other than Kapler, can you guys give me like one positive and one negative of this specific Phillies team?
Kapler ain't positive.
Well, I said one positive and one negative other than Kapler.
They won the second game. I mean, that's kind of what I got.
She doesn't mean one positive about the first 3 games. Positive about the team, about the season.
My positive is the fact that I love that Rhys Hoskins is going to play 162 or close to it. Listen, watching that kid last year was pretty fantastic. The Phillies were dead in the water. Nobody cared about the Phillies around June, July. Nobody cared. And then he came up, and all of a sudden there was juice, and people were like, wow, this kid can really play. Like, they're looking pretty good. Maybe they have a chance if they start to put it together and add the right pieces. I think that that's going to be the biggest positive. Negatives, well, we've kind of said it like 400 or 500 times, is that, the manager is, out of his mind crazy from what we've seen the first 3 games. We hope that he gets it together, but, numbers, if they're projecting, it doesn't look very good for the season.
I think you're right about Rhys Hoskins. I think he's going to be the #1 positive. He looks like a star. He looks like an all-star. Looks like a 35 to 40 home run guy, high on base guy. If he can avoid making left field too much of an adventure defensively, which could happen, and you're just going to have to take that, based on with
Manny Ramirez.
Exactly. He's that good. He is really, really good, and he's going to be the star that this team needed. I think the negative is going to be the bullpen parade. I don't think we're going to see a change in this team using 3 relievers in an inning, which is just horrible baseball to watch. Nobody wants to see you bring in a guy for 1 batter. Okay, the manager comes out, bring in another guy for another batter. It just makes games go on 4 hours. No one's going to get to bed before 11 o'clock in the Delaware Valley when the Phillies are on. That's a negative for me.
I'm going to go positive with the power that we have. The last time we had a team that was dominating the league, and I'm not saying the 11 team that won 100 games because of our pitching. On a night-to-night basis in the regular season, like if you have 4 aces, you're going to win games, and they did. But the team that we had that won the most, or that was I thought the most dangerous in the playoffs, was 08, 09, when we could just crush the ball every night. You couldn't stop us from scoring 10 runs. And we had that kind of lineup where we're getting towards there, where Hoskins, Santana, Altair, Kyree, like even Williams, they could all hit home runs. So when you have that much power in your lineup, you're going to be tough to get out. So that would be my positive. The negative, I think probably the consistency. You got a young team, new manager, rotating pieces, not everyone playing every day. So I think they will go through spells where they'll lose 8 of 10 and then they'll win 8 of 10. Like that'll be the kind of, like a Flyers team where they're young and inconsistent.
Up and down.
Yeah. So that would be the negative.
So will this be the team that competes for a playoff spot?
No.
Yeah.
I think so.
They're going to compete for a wild card.
Shocker.
I picked them to make the playoffs before this whole Gabe Kapler thing started, because I'm thinking, okay, I got a low 80 to mid 80s win team here based on the current roster. John Middleton wants to win.
Yeah.
He wants the championship right now. If this team's in the hunt,
they're
come
gonna
the trade deadline, they're going to add a piece, which bumps up the win total a little bit more. And in the National League, you've got a lot of teams fighting for a wild card spot who have a lot of weaknesses. And the Phillies have, I don't think there's any more weaknesses with those teams than the Phillies have. This was before Gabe Kapler's first 3 games, though, so we'll see. That's a big thing.
Real quick, to piggyback off that, when we talked about the Phillies a few weeks ago, I kind of said that they'd be between an 80 and 85 win team as well. Here's the difference. After seeing Gabe Kapler, let me ask you this. Hold on. Let me finish where I'm going. If they're 10 games below 500 or 10 games out of first, whatever the case may be, does Kapler get fired his first season?
We talked about that on the podcast I recorded last night. I think they have to get rid of him before the end of the season if this continues, if it's this bad. Because you want Manny Machado next year, you want Bryce Harper next year. They're not going to come here if the Phillies have a manager who's embarrassing the franchise.
We agree.
And that's kind of what it's been the first 3 games. But again, 3 of 162. He could turn it around. I mean, he's so green. This is the first team he's managed outside of one low Class A baseball team years ago. So hopefully he's learning.
I was going to say, do you trust the process? But like, is there even a process?
Everyone needs to chill. Listen, it's 3 games. It's like 1.5 games in basketball. It's like it's just you can't freak out yet. Everybody freaked out about Doug Peterson. We won a Super Bowl, right? Everybody freaked out about Brett Brown, and right now we're the 3rd best team in the NBA. So like, chill out, learn from history.
Brett Brown was bad.
Will I say I am nowhere near as high on Kapler as I was. I love Brett Brown. I love Peterson. I told everybody just chill out for a while. I'm not like that with this guy. I'm going to hold him accountable, and I hope he progresses. But, yeah, you're right. If he does this all year, you got to get rid of him. And I wish they would have gone with the guy that I still want, David Ross. I thought was, like, the perfect guy.
I like David Ross.
I love him. You know, the catchers, like, they know how to control a game. He just played. He knows how to relate to these kids. I thought he would have been perfect. But, you know, we'll see. It's been 3 games.
Okay, well, we got to move on to our Upon Further Review segment. And Aaron is going to come and join us. So, John, if there's a baseball question, we're going to fast pitch it to you.
That's fine. No problem. You got
It
it.
is a baseball question. It is a baseball question.
That's not a fast pitch.
The first question comes from Frank Vaughn. What is Gabe Kapler's biggest room for improvement so far as a manager?
Decision making.
Trusting his players, I think, is the big one right now. Trusting his starting pitcher to do a little bit more than he thinks they can do. He talked after the game, then he pulled an Aaron Nola saying, I trust my bullpen, I trust my relievers to get these outs. Why didn't you trust your ace starter to face a lineup the 3rd time through when he was clearly dealing?
Correct.
And I would say it would be like get out of your head a little bit. Everything is not about the numbers, and I'm a numbers guy.
Me too.
Yeah.
But like sometimes you've been playing baseball your whole life. Just trust what you know about baseball.
Yeah.
You know, get out of your head a little bit.
Eyeball test, as they say.
All right, last question. It comes from Neil Blair. If Nova wins the title, is Jay Wright the best college basketball coach this decade? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Huh.
He's definitely the best in the history of Philadelphia sports.
It's a pretty great question. All right, because you left it open-ended, I will say no. Gino Auriemma is, that team wins 38 games every year, and it's a shock when they don't win the championship. So the best college coach is Auriemma, the best men's college coach. Come on, Krzyzewski's the best, but Jay Wright will have had probably the best decade. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal what he does.
We'll agree.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
he's going to be an NBA coach in about 2 years, by the way. Yeah,
it is now.
He's that guy. He's the flashy guy that will be in the NBA. Yep.
Sorry. For our tap outs, these are things that made us tap out through the week. So you can pick something that has nothing to do with sports at all, or you can plug your own things. That's normally what guests do anyway. But who has to tap out first? They're dying to share.
I'll go first. Sure. We didn't talk. You know, it's no big deal. It's only Masters Week. Like, no one cares about that tournament, especially when Tiger Woods is playing, because who wants to see that guy? So, all sarcasm aside, Masters Week is like the start of spring. It's something a lot of men, golfers look forward to, women I'm sure too. And this year, more than any other, because for the first time in a decade, Tiger Woods, the man that made golf what it is today, is back, and he's in like real competition to win this thing. It's not like he's just there to compete. He's just there to maybe make the cut. Tiger Woods is the odds-on favorite to win the Masters. So anybody who says that they're not paying attention to what's going on, they're lying. Everyone's going to be scuba watching Thursday, and if he's in it, people are going to be watching all weekend. And I can't wait. Let's go Tiger.
Nice.
All right, so I'm going to talk about something that burns and boils my water.
Shocker.
Listen.
You get angry a lot.
I'm an angry person. So I have a cell phone, and I'm not going to call out my cell phone company, Sprint. And
that's not what we're not.
Listen, I went and got a phone for my daughter for Christmas, and my daughter, well, I got it to her 2 weeks before Christmas, got a phone that was an iPhone from her mom, which is totally fine. The problem I have is when I went back to return the phone to Sprint, although I got it for Christmas, they said, well, it's outside of our 14-day window. We can't return without charging you almost $200 to return a phone that never came out the box. That's weird to me. So eventually I said, you know what, I'll just cancel the contract. I'm out of contract and I'll go. So this girl in the store says, hey, listen, you leave the phone, you upgrade your phone, I'll take care of this for you. Great, no problem. So I go ahead and do it. 2 months later, guess what? I got a bill for $200 for that phone that she said she was going to take care of. So when I called them today and said, hey, listen, there's a $200 charge on my bill that you said you were going to take care of, she turned to me and said, I talked to my manager. You're still going to have to pay $110, but we can take off 90. I said, that's not what you agreed to. I said, let me get a manager. I said, call me anytime after 3 o'clock. It is 5 after 9 and my phone is not rang. So Sprint will be getting a call, corporate office tomorrow morning. Thank you. Tap out.
Oh, jeez. Okay, John, do you
want me to follow that up?
I'm really sorry. He's usually angry, but it's normally about
That's cool.
traffic or
That's
the
fine.
weather.
That's fine.
Well, it snowed again over the.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, but then it was like gone, like by 12 o'clock.
Yeah. It'll be
whatever.
sunny by like Wednesday.
Yeah.
Well, I think the one thing I've been thinking about with the Gabe Kapler stuff is first impressions. You know, first impressions in this town mean a lot. Ricky Waters.
For who? For what?
For who? Charlie Manuel. We thought he was a rube. He
Right.
won a world title. You got Doug Peterson, like you guys mentioned. First impressions mean everything, and it's going to be really, really hard. It takes a lot for someone in this town
To trust the process?
Yes, exactly right. And so, yeah. One of those guys too, and so it's really hard. You have to do something like win a title in order to get somebody to change their opinion about you in this town, and it's going to be really interesting to see if Gabe Kapler can do that. So,
That's
do I
awesome.
hit the table now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
tap
go
out.
ahead. There you go.
Well done.
Go
Well
on, Mickey.
done. Nothing. I'm just super excited for all of our guests in this show. That like, I love Phield House. I'm here like twice a day, every day. It's insane. I love being here. Marcus like family now. And the Phantoms. I coach the Phantoms. I'm one of the very few women coaches that coaches for the women's professional team, which seems odd, but it is what it is. And we have an amazing time. These women have put in so much work for our home opener on Saturday, and I just could not be more excited about it. And Don Stolnis is here to talk all this baseball because I could not possibly even begin to fake that.
When the Phillies
Yeah.
won in 05.
Oh, 08, I'm so sorry. I misspoke.
I'll never forget where I was in 05 when they won the World
I
Series.
misspoke. I hate all of you. You're not welcome back now. Thank you for trusting the process. On my new Philly. Where something is always new and everything's always Philly.